When we started Chubbies, we weren't thinking, let's build a shorts company. We were thinking, let's build a brand that we would love working on together. Ad platforms show up, and there's this arbitrage moment. We literally used to call that the Arby's moment at Chubbies. And we would be throwing around Slack Arby's emojis, like, oh, it's Arby's time, baby, let's go. And when Facebook ad platform arrived, we had already spent a year building community on Facebook. Our Arby's moment was 3 years long. Everybody's walking around being like, everything's broken operationally, but at least it's a good problem to have. I would also say, if you talk to our customers, the thing they'll tell you that's the most different about Good Day relative to other people we compete with, we are brand operators. When we dig into something operational, we're talking at a depth that they're just not used to with their B2B partners.
He is the OG of D2C, former CEO and co-founder of Chubbies, current co-founder and CEO of Good Day, and scaler through many things through the stratosphere. It is the one and only Kyle Hency. Kyle, get in here. Get in.
What's up, guys?
Let's go. Wow. Big moment for us here on the show, having the likes of yourself, Kyle. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you joining us, my friend.
I'm glad to be here.
You know, Kyle, when I think of you, I cannot help but think of all my frat daddy friends in the early 2010s. I graduated from Texas in 2009. And shortly thereafter, anytime I was near campus and all my friends, those shorts, the Chubbies, the infamous Chubby shorts, they were everywhere to be found. I've always believed that apparel brands, to reach your niche, you need to be that niche. And I felt that you guys did this better than anyone. The hilarious content, the viral ads, you always came off to me as they understand who I am. These are the kind of guys I'd like to have a beer with. And I think men everywhere on the internet felt the same way. Talk to us about starting Chubbies then, and what gave you an edge inside of your market to eventually, do what you guys did and have the successes that you had.
Absolutely. I mean, I also couldn't agree more with kind of the overall premise of what you were just sharing. Like, it really, really is important to start with something that is authentic to you, right? And build where you know best. When we started Chubbies, we weren't thinking, let's build a shorts company. That would objectively be a bad idea. we were thinking, let's build a brand that we would love working on together and that our friends would love. And we started from there. Ultimately, over time, we sold a lot of shorts. We sold a lot of swimwear. We sold a lot of funky stuff that, we literally invented apparel items over time. But like, I do think a part of the reason you felt like that's really important is when we started the brand, one of the core thoughts we had was, what if we just talk to our guys more like a beer brand and less like a stuffy apparel business? Wow. And so when I think about the niche, I think about it more like that than I do, hey, we're selling shorts to frat bros.
That is very interesting. So you had this thought that what if we talk to them more like we are a beer ad, who for me, and I think for Colin as well, being children of the 80s and 90s, beer ads were always the best. I mean, to me, I felt like cigarette ads were always the best. I know that's a little taboo now. They can't do that now. But that's interesting and very compelling. So you approach it from a frame. What if we talk to these guys more like we are a beer brand that inspires them to live in a kind of way, in a free kind of form, sets them free in that kind of sense?
100%. And the brand's still doing it today. I mean, that's like one of those things that's going to remain true for forever. When you're building a brand, like, what are the cool things you can build around that will never change? And so it's like, beer ads are still more funny than apparel ads.
Totally.
Watch the Super Bowl ads, right? Like, it's just more entertaining. There's a lot more to engage with, especially when you're sub 50-year-old man, right?
Exactly.
I always found that you guys were always entertaining. You guys weren't trying to sell in your ads. It was always funny. It was always entertaining. Do you see any brands today where you're like, that's a reminder of the old days of this is exactly how I'd run the playbook? And you see some brands where you're like, great job, guys. You're doing exactly what you should be doing.
100%. And I think more and more brands are taking this route. It's so much more important that you decide what your authentic lane is and that thing is different and unique to you than it is to try to be cool with the masses. I think the art of like trying to be cool and trendy and always on the front end of every trend that shows up and moves through is really, really hard. So we spent all this time really thinking to ourselves, how do we build a world where we can remain true to ourselves, but also be entertaining? Ask yourself, what are the things you talk to with your closest buddies, right? For men, for at least our friends, it's mostly humor-based stuff.
Yeah.
And so the idea of not having humor at the core of this brand we were building was never even discussed. It was just obvious we were always going to do it.
I love that. I love that. And I think this is, I don't know where I got this. It popped in my head at some point, but I think if you can make a man laugh, he will spend dollars with you. I really believe that. It's at the core of relationship building, at least in the West, for American male friendships. Humor is at the core of everything there. It felt like you guys had a great locker room energy too. All of that, it came off as genuine. And I know you guys have continued to work together thereafter with, outside of Chubbies, even after your exit. Give me some perspective and give our audience perspective, Kyle. I know that viral growth can bring some real difficult constraints. It's great when everybody's sharing your ad because they love it and they laugh. But then if they buy so many things, it can create some real constriction inside of the business. And we experienced this at Bruce Bolt when I was at Bruce Bolt. What was managing all of that demand in-house like for you guys?
Yeah. Well, you probably experienced this at Bruce Bolt. The way you talk about it, everybody's walking around being like, everything's broken operationally, but at least it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, but it's still a thing where it's a problem, actually. So the mindset is like, whoa, this is a moment. We've like really tied into something culturally or in the market, et cetera. And then it's like, okay, how do you work through it? One of the mindsets that we found really helpful over time at Chubbies, because we had a lot of kind of viral moments. Some of them were marketing driven, some of them were product driven. When we first released our America shorts at Chubbies, you guys probably remember that back in like 2014, 2015 timeframe. Like it was a completely viral product. We couldn't keep that thing in stock for over a year.
Wow.
But we began to just operate assuming operational chaos was coming. and saying either we're going to launch this, let's just use the Americans, either we're going to launch this and we're going to sell 2 million pairs of them instantly, or we're going to launch it. It's going to be a complete dud. So what is our plan in both of those cases? And how do we either double down on it or how do we pull back from it? And so over time, we kind of got out of the game of trying to say, oh, like, how are you going to perfectly predict all these things? And we just said, hey, we're going to have some viral moments over time. You kind of always need to be ready for it and build it into how you operate day to day. And so, I think the truth is, even a good day where we brought on over 40 customers, we had many of them sell out of literally everything that they had in the warehouse midday on Black Friday.
Wow.
Right. And so it's like, there's not a whole lot you can do at that point. In this case, we helped them do a bunch of pre-sales of things that were coming, but you're just always going to have some uncertainty around the corner. And I always advise brands when they're building, especially when they're young, just build into that. Just know it's coming.
So customer success is breaking down when stuff like that happens. Inventory obviously is a mess. You don't have any inventory, Founder is like pulling his hair out. I wish we had 3x the amount of inventory that we had, sell, baby, sell, make hay while the sun is shining. So you're experiencing all that, and you guys are experiencing those frustrations internally, managing that chaos as you scale. And then I think that probably really informed what you've done here afterward. I know you've been involved with Loop, and I know what you're doing now with Good Day. I mean, it seems born out of that kind of chaos and frustration. Is that the case?
100%. It was like, okay, we're 10 years into this thing. We're looking back at it, and you're saying, it's true that every year there's something operationally wild and chaotic that arrives on my doorstep. So now that I know that, I'm trying to build a more simple, a more lean, a more adaptive infrastructure to be able to grow and build the business. Now, when we were doing this back in 2014, 2015, our spreadsheets totally imploded. We thought we were pretty smart. We thought we had everything covered. We did not. And we ended up having to go build a big clunky piece of software in a legacy ERP called NetSuite. We were building Good Day to just make that entire process seamless. Get brands out of spreadsheets earlier in their life, give them the necessary operating tools, make it much more cost effective for them, manage their inventory better, give them more leverage in these big holiday seasons using things like pre-sales, et cetera. And so, yeah, it is like literally a reaction to our experience and saying, okay, this doesn't have to be this hard. Let's create an operational world where it's actually pretty straightforward and easy. And we're extending Shopify's capabilities even deeper into the back of office. And that's really what is Good Day in a nutshell. It's a really, really powerful piece of software that's extending Shopify's capabilities into the back of office in ways that most ERPs do. We look at it as an ERP alternative because we're just not building it the same way that ERPs were built in the past. And so yeah, we're really excited about this. And I think I shared that we had a really successful fundraising back in Q3. And so really, really excited to bring more brands on, help them out.
That's exciting.
So just to follow up on that, so you enter in the SaaS world, you're entering into the B2B playbook of things. You have shifted from the consumer playbook of things where it's, it's pretty tried and true, buy meta ads, do all the things. How are you thinking about Good Day moving forward and marketing that? Are you thinking, I'm going to try to do a Chubbies moment for Good Day, or are you going to try to do something else? Are you thinking about, we're really bullish on in real life events here, something along those lines?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say in general, you can take the guy out of apparel, but you can't take him out of building a brand. So I would say like number one, we're building a piece of software called Good Day. It's like optimistic at its core, and I'll tell you, I don't see a lot of that in operational software.
Wow.
So we are like literally thinking about that. I would also say the name Good Day itself is like, hey, today's a good day. You got it. You got all the tools you need. When otherwise you might be having a bad day. Right. And so we're definitely like thinking about a lot of the things that are kind of pulling out of our consumer roots. I would also say if you talk to our customers, the thing they'll tell you that's the most different about Good Day relative to other people we compete with is just like we are brand operators. We are brand founders. When we dig into something operational, we're talking at a depth that they're just not used to with their B2B partners. And so no different than Chubby saying like, hey, we're really good at selling shorts to dudes that are post-grad and like getting into these big cities and socializing, et cetera. Like Good Day's niche is like, we're really great at being brand operators. And so we think of ourselves as an operational extension of these companies. And we go all the way in. We have private Slack channels with all of them. We're like genuinely operating with them. So we are pulling on a lot of what we learned from those days. But I would say in general, like I've kind of taken, in terms of like getting out to the market, we've just decided to just be authentic, get in there with the brands, host in-person events, any opportunity I have or my team has to get in the same room as a brand. That's how we're going about it. And we're kind of like, how much are we spending on Facebook ads? $0 this year.
There we go. There we go. Sure. I love this because, I think on your roster right now are some of my favorite brands, Poncho. And of course I'm Central Texas bias. Okay. Burley Bow, Trey played on the same team that I was on with Texas.
Wow. He's built an amazing business.
Yes. And the guy's built an amazing body too. He looks like he's still playing football. Yeah. I mean, I'm continually surprised by the guy, the Normal brand, Muggsy. You're telling me that not only do you have this kind of unique Shopify integration, Shopify native approach, but also when people work with you, they get you guys as operators involved with them. It's not just you roll out a software to them and please don't bother us, but they get your mind, your involvement on what they're doing.
Absolutely. And like, it doesn't stop there, right? How do you keep brand DNA at the core of building a software company? Half of our employees are former brand operators.
Wow.
Like it's what we're doing, right? It's what we're building. It's who we're hiring. And so it just is a different plan. I like, look, super candidly, it's not without risk. We're a startup, right? Like there's risk in anything you do, but that's just how we're being unique and different.
Colin, I think that Kyle should join us in the unannounced event that we have coming up after Commerce Roundtable. I'm not officially announcing anything here right now, but I think he's got good vibes. I think he should be there. Is that fair? Can we just time out Kyle real quick?
It is a core. I do want to say it's a core strategy of ours to host happy hours.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
Somebody named Good Day coming in and hosting your happy hour, just kind of like getting your day into a good.
It's nice.
It's nice, right? Like that's core strategy.
I have to say, Kyle and I have hung out with Kyle late at night before. Kyle's a good hang. You want Kyle to be hosting your happy hour. You do.
Let's go.
We need to find a way to get John Mark Craddock there too. I love John Mark Craddock. We got to dig him out of South Austin and get him there.
Can I throw out a kind of wacky one? Because I was listening to I was listening to some of what you guys were talking about before around how these ad platforms show up. And there's this arbitrage moment. We literally used to call that the Arby's moment at Chubbies. And we would be throwing around Slack Arby's emojis like, oh, it's Arby's time, baby, let's go. And so just to like put a little bit of like just real world, like how real that is, like we would literally be like, when Facebook ad platform arrived, we had already spent a year building community on Facebook. Our Arby's moment was 3 years long.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like by the time we got to Snapchat, the Arby's moment felt like it was like 4 weeks.
That's
TikTok
crazy.
like 2 weeks. Like, so I would just say, get fired up, get your Arby's,
Fired
you
up.
know, get in there. It's coming. I just hope it would be nice if we have multiple years for these brands to play a little arbitrage.
Yes. Give me all the Arby's moments we can get, right?
They need it.
We need it. We need it.
We do. We need that.
Yeah.
We need a 2011, 2014, 2017. Like we need those moments. I think that we do.
I do think the brands I've talked to over the last, call it 3 or 4 weeks, are kind of like, okay, we've been dealt all the shit sandwiches we can handle.
Yeah.
We're at kind of like a baseline moment and we're ready to attack going into 2026. So like, I would say personally, I've obviously been building pretty in-depth stuff for the last 3 or 4 years. I'm feeling more kind of like, okay, I'm seeing some green shoots in the distance. We're going to be testing everything related to AI all over the business. I mean, if you want to talk about brand, like companies that are going to test all of this stuff fast, D2C brands, they're going to be first on the list.
Yeah.
So for us, as we think about building Good Day, as we think about advising our brands to test all the new ad tools that are coming out, like it's a pretty cool 26, 27, as far as I think about building off of like a bottoming.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Kyle, I know that you're a busy man. You got many things to attend to, even on MLK Day. But before you go, just give us 30 seconds, give us 60 seconds on, and maybe somebody they're growing like a weed, but their inventory management sucks and they don't know what's going on. Or maybe they've been growing like a weed, but they're relegated to some software or partner that is not a fit for them and not integrated in the sense of what you guys are doing now. Give us 60 seconds on who should reach out to you. How do they get a hold to you? What's next steps if somebody's struggling with this kind of thing?
Yeah, amazing. So in general, typically the brands that make a lot of sense for us, they've built really special brands on Shopify. We built Good Day as a Shopify app. So if you're not on Shopify, we can't support you. But they've grown so well, they're starting to say, oh man, I'm going to start to sell through Dick's Sporting Goods or Shields or Dillard's or one of these big retailers. And they're saying, oh man, I just don't have the infrastructure together for that. I have no one on my team to even know how to do that. And so that's one of the moments. The other big moment is like, man, we lost a bunch of inventory. Our accounting is a mess. Like we literally don't have a good handle on this overall picture. Those tend to be the two big times people are like, I just need to get better at this. And so once they're in that mode of like, we just need to improve this over the long haul, then we're a really great partner for them. Go to gooddaysoftware.com. You can sign up through the demo flow. We're a startup with less than 20 employees. So it's going to be me and one of my former Chubbies employees hopping on, showing you around Good Day, talking through your business and yeah, just trying to help you.
You know what I hope? I hope that there are some people like me a few years ago and they realize they're on a rocket ship and they have absolutely no idea how to manage Dick's, how to manage distribution and all of those things. And they're just, I need Kyle. I need some help. I need somebody who's been there and done it before and they reach out to you and get on board. I hope that's what happens.
I love that.
Well, Kyle, we appreciate you joining us, my friend, and we look forward to having some happy hours together.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
We'll see you soon. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys.